Hello transport nerds and welcome back to Talking Planning. Over the last couple of years I've covered many of the basics from across Brisbane, Newcastle and Sydney, as well as a few regional transport snapshots. During this time I've caught hundreds of buses, trains, trams and ferries, mostly from major manufacturers across the Aussie market. But for this week I want to check out a very special product operated by Sid Foggs of Newcastle, a Hool EX16H built back in 2017. This is one of the last buses I caught while living in Newcastle. So why haven't we seen Hool, or for that matter, most of the Euro brands having a larger presence in Australia? In short, it comes down to 5 centimetres of extra width. Perhaps initially for industry protectionism, Australia's heavy vehicle width limits were set at 2.5 metres, rather than the 2.55 metres that was traditional in continental Europe. Narrower widths have meant that Australia has had very few European bus body imports, as retooling a whole production line for one small market doesn't make much sense. But on the other hand, newcomer clean sheet designs from companies like BCI, Bonluck, Yutong and King Long have gained market share in Australia quite quickly. As these companies worked off clean sheet designs, they adhered to the 2.5 metre standard from new, and they weren't forced to tool up separate production just for the Aussie market. Let's start with a walkthrough. I couldn't get the tape measure out for this Hool, but having watched the Australasian bus and coach review before doing this one, this design has been modified specifically for our market. This is different to some of the other Euro spec buses, which have required specialist compliance, like the Mercedes-Benz Citaro at Brisbane Transport required a few years back. I've linked the Australasian bus and coach review below if you want all the nerdy specs for this Hool. As well as bigger air filters, Hool's interior choices have been customised for the Australian market. With style ride seats fitted here, and Sid Foggs chose this rather interesting orange and blue fabric combo with leatherette headrests. Looking backward, there are 2 other surprises here, with a lavatory, not all that common to see on a coach used on rail replacement, and a back window, something of a rarity these days. Looking up, the overhead console is fully featured, and has individual lighting and air vents, attended call bells, and, by the looks of it, even a stop bell button. The seats themselves come with movable armrests and seat back nets which are useful for storing small items. This bus is fully featured and when it comes to specs is pretty impressive, with an engine built by DAF rated for Euro 6 emissions, and a seriously impressive 460 horsepower and 2300 Nm of torque. Travel is fast, smooth and comfortable. All that power is sent through a 12-speed automated manual transmission, making for a great journey, so sit back, relax and enjoy the ride. This was only a relatively short trip on board between Newcastle Interchange and Cardiff, and I would have loved to have travelled on this bus for a longer trip to really appreciate how good it is. Unfortunately, at the time of filming this review, travelling any further south would have resulted in a very miserable 2 weeks afterward. Something I really appreciate about this bus is how feature-rich it is. There's a wheelchair lift and space for a couple of wheelchairs, which allows long-distance journeys to be accessible. And Van Hool also load up these buses with safety equipment. There's lane departure warning, adaptive cruise control, and autonomous emergency braking, all of which can help drivers continue to provide smooth, safe, and efficient services. Prior to this trip, I'd only ever seen or caught Van Hool buses in my travels throughout Europe and Canada, so it was really nice to get one on home soil, and indeed confirm that the EX16H is a great bit of kit. Still, my journey on board is now at an end, so let's sit back and watch this bus depart from Cardiff Station. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you again soon.